Yeah, so my earliest memories of us meeting, it was and it's kind of confused with the after prom, pictures, but it's still the same because he was a quite stylish and fashionable man. It's like the feather. It was. Am I mistaken? It was like you had to.
Damn, no,
It was an OG.
that was me.
Yeah, exactly. That was so like gangster for some reason. Like these cats was actually like wearing like a flip, like hair blown out, pressed, old school. Yeah, but that whole blood bench scenario was such a factor in Inglewood High. It was like that's the blood bench. I mean, there was other benches, but y'all definitely made a mark in that sense. So that was always a trip. How stylish game bangers, were and are. You know what I mean? I don't know if you even know it. You know what I mean? Because you was living it. But...
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess it was a look, a certain look that back then cats had. I mean, different. It was if it was like the fly little perm and with the rollers when
Mm-hmm.
before that was crazy. I actually, matter of fact, a good example, if you think about it, was in Friday's Big Worm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, damn, I did do that. But what's funnier than that, I have a picture of that on my phone today, and I always look at it like, damn, that was me in 12th grade. I think there's a few different cats on there, me, Frog. I don't know if you remember Circle.
Oh, I remember Circle.
Yeah,
I remember
that
Circle.
dude was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lil Moon and Q-Tip was on that picture. Yeah, when I think back, yeah, that was some cool times when I think about that. But
yeah, I mean, and the other thing that stood out was the women around that bench, man. Y'all was like attracting a high quality, man. That was a trip. If it was nothing else attractive about gang banging, it was the women that y'all attracted. You know what I'm saying? For those that was considering joining, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like, yo.
Look, man, for real. And look, I said, it seemed like after I started climbing the turf, it was on with the bras. It was plentiful.
Okay.
I don't know what happened with that. I don't know why that was, or I don't know. I guess they was attracted to the lifestyle or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but they didn't necessarily look like they would be. That's what's the trip. It was like college bound chicks, and it was like, y'all was who they dug. That was like official. It was like, damn, man, why she like them dudes? And it was like, it was like,
yeah,
automatic.
Man. Yeah, it's crazy when you think back to it. It's crazy that that's how that went. And another thing I want to say, not until my 12th grade year did that become the blood bench. Because at first it was the Queen Street bench, and that whole row we took up both sides, right, and that was right in front of the girls' locker room, locker room window. Yeah. Man, you take me back.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, because by the time y'all graduated, it's just like everybody, IFs and whoever else, mobsters even, when they started banging. Yeah, it just turned into just the destination. That's where the red laces, that's where that's where they stood.
Man, yeah. That man. For maybe a day, I wish I could just go back just to laugh at some of the things that was going on. Go back and live that just one day. But now, man.
So with that neighborhood, like when I don't know, like I said, it starts there. Like so, 89 coming to Inglewood. This is Gramps, and this is the homies. You feel me? But when did you start banging? Like you said, claiming the turf. Like is it a couple years before, or I mean, I want
to. If I remember correctly, it had to be. I want to say maybe about 87, maybe somewhere in there. 87, maybe 86. anywhere between 86, 87, 88, anywhere in there, somewhere in there. But it's a trip how that all came about. The first time I could tell you where I was at. First time I ever climbed the hood, because it was like a little small riot between us and the I-13s. We was out in Middle Manchester fighting. It spilled out from the school to the middle of Manchester, and then police came. Everybody broke, and the way I got caught, I'm hitting the fence, ripped my pants, and then walking, and the police seen my pants was ripped, snatched me up. We all they had about 20 cats in the office, and I think if I could remember correctly, it was an officer. It was two officers. One, we used to call Wacky and Packy. And
Super Cop was the one I remember. Yeah, Super Cop.
Yeah, well, see, Super Cop. Yeah, he was there at the school. Wacky and Packy was actually IPD.
Oh, I see. Okay,
IPD.
Yeah.
So they came up there. They taken all the gang files, and they asked me. They asking everybody where they were from. When they got to me, I was like, because at that time, at that particular point, I just was hanging real tough with everybody. I mean, I wasn't from Queen Street yet. I was just hanging with fellas and whatever. And then they asked me where I was from. I said, I don't bang. And it got kind of quiet. He said, where are you from? I said, I do not bang. And then he was like, I'm going to ask you one more time. And, them cats was pretty tough back then, And then I was like, I guess I'm from Queen Street then. From that point, it was on. It was on from that point. Yeah, I guess I didn't want to have to deal with getting roughed up. By them dudes, they didn't mind doing it. You know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah,
they didn't mind doing it.
Because that's what stood out about your story to me as well, is that you one of the few cats that I actually heard say that it wasn't like peer pressure, or it wasn't like a broken home or looking for a second family, because you had your folks, you had parent household was solid, and you kind of just decided to bang. Is that correct in my memory?
Yeah, that is correct. That's pretty accurate. What it was being, I guess, what brought me to banging, just being loyal to my group of dudes I was hanging out with. I was with them every day. I mean, shit, if somebody was to roll up and ask you where you from, and just because I would have been like, I don't bang with you, guilty by association, I was gonna catch it too. So that turned into something. But yeah, no, I definitely, moms, pops, had both of them in the house the whole time. I had older parents, so it was kind of, I guess, I don't know. Maybe kind of hard for them to kind of keep up with what was going on all the time, So maybe they didn't catch on to the signs. I know the first time moms realized that what was going on, I remember her actually crying. And that was a trip. And then my pops, he was a real stern dude, so I don't know, he didn't take it well at first, but then, I mean, after, he started meeting some of the homies and realizing they just people, they ain't no monster or whatever that people try to describe it as, but yeah, nah. But no, I didn't, I think for some people or a lot of people, I don't know, I don't even want to put a number on it, but some do come from a single parent home, but nah, that wasn't my case. And I think that's kind of like the myth, or how they, outside, I don't know what you want to call it, but outside people that don't really know what's going on, that's how they tried to label it back then. But nah, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
I had caring parents, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that was the same thing with my mom's. Like, she would always be like, well, you be careful of those gangbangers or whatever. And I'd be looking at it, so it's like, the gangbangers come in this house. What are you talking about? She knew everybody by their government name. Yeah. She didn't even identify that. Like, it's like, yeah, okay. Like, who am I supposed to be afraid of outside? Like, these guys are inside.
You know everybody. You do them all. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, boy, 69, I remember Frog used to always like, hey, look, I had to even think about what your government was after I spoke with you, man. I couldn't even remember. I'm like, man, but I remember Frog always like call you over there. Man, that's so red, man. And he's like, man, you gonna be from the hood. So I'm just looking at Frog like, this dude is not even really paying attention to you. I'm thinking to myself, this dude is laughing this off, and you're not even catching it.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, I remember that. Frog's voice was dope. That was dope. But I remember, yeah, exactly. Did he get the name Frog because of his voice? I never got to ask him that.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. how he came about his name, man.
Yeah, he stayed with that Jerry curl. I remember I asked him when he was going to get rid of it. He said when they stopped making the chemicals.
That sounds like him, man. To his dying day, he had that, man. He had that curl, man.
Straight curl.
Man, I can see his face now, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Frog was another one that, he was with the business, man. I respect him for that.
I've heard. I didn't know that side of y'all. That's what's interesting is that I knew like the loving, tender side. I never saw how y'all, dealt with enemies or whatever confrontations them streets brought with you. But I heard my man was fierce. Like somebody even likened him to like Old Dog. I was like, damn.
Yeah, the problem with the business. Yeah. It's just I hate the way everything unfolded on how he eventually how the end came for him, man. That is like, to this, I mean, it's been years now. I think, matter of fact, I've been married about 17 years, and he the day before I got married, died, man.
Yeah, that is rough.
So, yeah, that's been a long time, and it's still sometimes, I don't want to say I'm mad at the whole situation. Yeah. I'm not gonna say I'm mad with him. I'm mad with the whole situation, how all that went down, man.
Yeah, no, that seems like the roughest part. I mean, 'cause like there's a lot of downtime. At least it appears from the outside with bangers, where y'all are kind of just chilling, like spending money and having fun, right? But then the downside is obviously the death of homies. You know what I mean? 'Cause I remember how when Dollar died, that it just seemed like unreal. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy.
The way Dollar was, you never thought he was gonna die.
Yeah, no, he was solid gold, man. That's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was real. He was real about the situation all the time. That dude, man, he was, yeah. But then he was the first to go from the turf too, man.
Yeah, that's what I kind of remembered. Yeah, you don't want to remember any of those, like stats in that sense. But yeah, that was,
I end up after a while. Yeah, you lose count, man. I can remember being in the house, maybe 30 deep, drinking, laughing, and talking about how we different from everybody. We ain't lost no homies, and once it started happening, man, that shit was cool. It happened fast, and it happened fast. Bandit, that was another dude.
Bandit?
He died out of town. Yeah.
Is that
Big right? Bandit? Yeah, Big Bandit died out of town. He died in, if I'm not mistaken, either in Atlanta or Tennessee, somewhere out that way. And we never really figured out what happened with him, but he was with some cats from a different neighborhood. Dude that was actually in the car with him came. I appreciate that. At least he was man enough to come to the hood and like, man, I'll let y'all hear. And I was with him. That ain't how it went down. And he explained happened exactly that way, we'll never know. But he explained the situation and all that went on, and I appreciate him for that, just being man enough to come through and kind of straighten it out a little bit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That man, damn, those deaths were hard, and then then like the youngsters started dying and all that was crazy, man. That really turned me off from the situation of I guess the reckless living or whatever, man. It's hard. It's never easy to. I don't care which side you're on. It's never easy to deal with death, and it's not a good feeling. And man, I guess it make you start realize, life is real.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it was a lot of brighter times. You know what I'm saying? Fun, and then especially the neighborhood, man. I can remember showing up places, man. I don't care where we went. We was there, but we was to ourselves doing our own thing, and most of the time bagging on each other, cracking jokes, or talking about somebody else.
Yeah, I
remember one time showing up at a spot, and I overheard this girl when we walked in thick, and the girl was like, "Oh shit, here come them Queen Streets." I was like, "Damn, that's how they feeling." Before the night was over, we was into it. We was into it with some cats. And then I remember getting sweated by one of my homies, like, "Hey man, drive me back over there. I'm finna do whoopie whoop." I was like, "Yeah, I'm about to go to the beach, man." But then, it was some wild times, man. That was like from the late '80s all the way to I think around like the early 2000s. Man, I think I stopped hanging out. I think I might have been about 35 when I stopped hanging out, man.
Mm-hmm.
But shit, at that time I already had 4 kids, and I didn't want to see them going through the same shit I did, and I'm pretty sure my parents didn't want me to go through that. But that was the thing at the 80s. Come on now, you know how the 80s went.
Yeah.
It was fun, man. I had a ball. Look, the cold part about it, shit, your brother was one of my G homies, man. That dude, man, he's funny. He to this day, you know what? I thought you would lose the comedy, but man, that dude's still funny to this day, man. When we do get a chance to kick it, he's still funny.
Yeah, and I don't know that other side of him at all. He never brought that home, man. That's amazing. Like, yeah. As a matter of fact, I remember.
Respect him for that.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, I had asked him. I was like, man, how come I couldn't rock? You know what I'm saying? Like when this and they said, I didn't want you around all that, and I was like, damn. I mean, I still don't know what all that is. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying, that he looked out in those ways. Like,
yeah.
Because it's
for real.
Isn't the neighborhood broken up in like blocks, like 400 block, 100 block, or something? Yeah. So the first block was, which one came first? The 400 block came first?
No, actually, the original block is the 600.
Oh, the 600. Okay.
Yeah, that's where a lot of them older cats, or cats older than me, was from the turf before me. A lot of them cats claimed the 600. I was from the 4, man. That was the wild block. We called that the hot spot. Man, everything goes down on the 4, man.
That's funny.
Yeah. I got this shit all over me too, man. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Honey, yeah.
So when did you get that little Suzuki? Like, was that by 12th grade, or you had it before then? That was it a sidekick or a samurai? Because them joints was fly, like they was everywhere.
Yeah, it was. A red Suzuki Samurai. I got that in I think I was in the 11th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, look, from the outside looking in, cats probably thought I was moving major
No, yeah, you look
weight or
rich.
something.
Yeah, you look rich. Yeah, this is true.
No, I'm going to tell you what that was, man. And I mean, I said it then. I don't know if anybody was paying attention. That was being the only son. And after I got older, you know, the homies like, man, you spoiled. And I'm like, I used to resent that and all the way up until my pops passed. And I realized what they meant. Yeah, my pops looked out for his only boy. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Now
it added to the mystique. I'm gonna tell you that much. It was like, yo, like again, making banging look sexy. It's like, what the hell is going on? Am I missing something?
Look, man, listen. At that time, man, whatever it took to land little honeys, man, you know, whatever it took. I mean, shit. I was look. I had my first car I got when I was in the 10th grade, which was a Bug. I had some rims on it, nice little paint on it, little sounds, and then from the Bug went to the Suzuki, and at that particular time, that's what was going on. So I guess it just kept falling in place, you know. And after that Suzuki, I don't even remember what I don't know. It's hard to remember, but I went through some cars, man. I know after a while, you know, shit, I did have to live off the fat of the land. You know, you get to an age where, like, damn, I got to do something. I can't have my parents always spending money on me. So I think the very first car I think I bought was like a 98 O's, and I bought that from one of the homies. He already had it like with sounds, rims, and the way I got that, he was fresh back in town. Somebody wrecked into it, but I knew he was at that particular moment. He was kind of low on funds, and his spot had blew up out of town, all kind of crazy shit. So me being a hell of a businessman, I went and slid over there at his lowest point and offered them a little bit of nothing, and he went for it. I put that car in the shop. Yeah, I put that car in the shop, had it back on the streets in like 3 or 4 weeks, and was, man, rolling around smiling at it. I felt good about that. I felt real good about that move, man. Damn. Yeah, but I remember that car. That car, I had a fucking bullet hole in the back of the trunk so big, man. And I seen the dude with the gun before he would bust on me, and ever since then, I have been wanting to fly. I could tell you, it was a Desert Eagle 50 caliber.
Wow.
50 cal. I've been wanting to get one ever since. The fucking hole in that trunk was so big. It's like, this dude really must hate me for I don't know what reason. Yeah, but yeah, that car got shot up. I think I didn't stop getting my car shot up until I reached. Fuck, man, probably. Damn near 30. That's when I started having cars with no bullet holes. The Jeep had the Jeep had like seven bullet holes on one side. It was the passenger side. The frog was sitting on the passenger side. It was like, man, why you get this side of the car shot up? I said, man, I was trying to run the dude over. But he's like, really? I'll never forget that shit, man. It was hilarious.
Oh, man.
Like, man. I'm gonna tell you like this. The way I look at it now, looking back on all that type of shit, man, I'm just truly blessed, man. God had his hands on us, man, to keep us alive out of a lot of things at that time. You know, at that age, you wasn't even paying attention to. Like, wasn't registering. I guess how real that shit was.
Yeah.
You know, man.
So
Yeah,
let me ask you.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to place Bandit, not to go back to a sad point, but is that Bacardi's older brother? Is that?
No. Bacardi older brother is DK.
Okay, yeah,
Man,
okay.
if
DK
you
is
see,
fly.
you could.
I remember he had a low rider. I remember that low rider my man
Oh
had.
man, yeah. I got a funny story about that. I remember, DK was wild. So that dude had no fear when it came to a lot of shit. I remember when he first got his car out the interior shop, he come down the block hitting switches, stop, let me get in, and we flying up and down the street. The dude had no fear, so he start bouncing it, and I'm like, damn, we can land on top of these parked cars, man. Fresh, brand new peanut butter interior, and I snatched, what is that? The little handle over, you know how they have leather handles. I guess you kind of get in and out of the car, it'd be over the window or whatever. Man, I snatched that out. I felt bad, like, damn, I done tore this dude's car up, but I thought he was about to kill us, man. But I don't know how. And he don't. I guarantee you, if you ask him, he wouldn't know how he did not land on them parked cars. Man.
Wow.
But yeah, he's crazy like that, man. But yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
Yeah, I mean that car was so killer, and then I think he ended up getting it painted, and then it was still killer. It was like, damn, man. And then
it was clean.
whatchamacallit had a clean one too. What was it? He-Man? Somebody had a cool
He-Man.
red one. Yeah.
Yeah, He-Man had a red 65, white interior with the red pipe, and he still has that car, I think, man. But he took the switches out and ended up putting like some, I think at that time,
24s
20s on there, or something. Yeah, something stupid like that.
Yeah, it wasn't
as
sexy.
That was, I was like, man, this it don't have an LA feel no more. Man. You know what I mean? But I mean, you see it now all the time. That's what cars look like now. But I mean, you still find your riders out. So, somebody else had a clean low rider, man. I think one of the younger homies had one. I didn't never see that one though, but I heard about it. But yeah, I can't even remember.
So from the outside, it always appeared dangerous, but you're saying when you were in it, it just was. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why do people make a career out of it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I believe it is. I mean, once you do something for so long and really believe in what you're doing, and I mean that becomes your life. That was life for a lot of people, man. I mean, I'm nowhere near active, nothing like that. But I still have I still feel I have a certain responsibility to the hood, man. Yeah, but I mean, you couldn't even get me to even say some of the shit I would say back when I was younger. Now it's more like, man, you gotta take care of yourself. You gotta get out of that shit, man. There ain't nobody. I don't feel nobody. Everybody got a agenda now. It's not like how I felt back when I was coming up. It was all for one for all. Especially with our neighborhood, with us being a smaller neighborhood, shit, we used to catch it from everybody. Crips, Bloods would come try to sweat us, and always I say turning you out, try to make you claim they hood. Nah, man, we used to have to go through a lot of shit being a younger neighborhood coming out, but shit, we made it through. And now, I don't see the togetherness like how it was in our generation or our kids that was coming up, and it was like, call somebody when you needed help, or if somebody needed help, you wouldn't think twice about giving it to them. Shit, one person had $1, we all had $1. You know what I mean?
That's real.
Yeah, we all was gonna eat, but
hey, I remember the First Amendment tape that was floating around.
yeah.
Oh man!
Damn, man, that was some fun times, man.
I remember the only lyric that I remember off the album was "Be upon the hardcore street rapper." Like if your bitch get out of line, I'm gonna slap her or something.
Man, yeah,
Yeah, man, that was crazy.
That is B, man. You know, and me and B used to be real tight, man. I mean, that's still, man, the homie, but you know how life is to everybody. Shit, I'm so caught up in trying to hold down a job and eat what I seen in my household coming up for my children. I'm trying to do that, and you know, it's not that I don't want to say I don't have time. It's just when you get time, you be so fucking burnt out. You just, man, you don't feel like doing shit but rest and get your mind together to go do the same shit the next day, man. But the way I look at it, man, you gotta, every time your feet hit the floor, you gotta wake up swinging and keep on doing the same shit, man. It's repetitive shit, kind of. It does to everything.
Yeah, but how is that, like, compared to like being previously being a hustler? You know what I mean? Is it? I mean, obviously it's safer and it's in your best interest, you know, to do what you're doing today.
Yeah.
But having seen obviously a different payoff, is that right, psychologically? Yeah. Does that like kind of jerk you, or you let all that go because it's just this is the best thing to do?
Nah, well, yeah. In a lot of ways, when I first started working, I used to tell myself, like, damn, I wish I would have been working and grinding at the same time.
Oh, I
that
get
would have been a lot smarter.
Mm-hmm.
But now I look at it, shit, man. I even hate to say, man, my son was playing football since he was like, I guess, I think around 8. Mm-hmm. And so by the time it was time for him to go to high school, which I think he's been out of high school now. Just this year is his first year out of high school. So we talk about maybe 5 years ago. A particular high school out here, I ain't gonna say the name, was turning out a lot of players, ending up at SC. You know, so for us to afford, and my wife, man, I was sneaking around. My wife didn't even know. For us to afford to send them there, I mean, she had her money. She's going to work. I'm going to work, but at the time, I wasn't getting paid a whole lot at this job. And, man, I actually started grinding again, and, man, it did not have the same feeling. It was like, shit. Oh, man, I was like, man, this is a wrap. If something stupid happened, it's a wrap. I'm washed. It's over. I'll be like down there. What? I was looking at probably like I'll be maybe down there in my 60s. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, that wasn't the answer. And then I didn't even have a stomach for it no more, man. I did not have a stomach for it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, but back when it was going down, man, I got to the point where I felt like, shit, boy, I was burning, man, gasoline, man. It wasn't nothing. I felt I could not move, and I prided myself on that shit, man. Yeah, I just now looking back, that's nothing really to be proud of, but yeah, I think I was kind of good at what I was doing.
I mean, if it wasn't illegal and if it didn't have like genocidal, consequences, like I think that most of y'all hustlers are brilliant businessmen. You see what I'm saying? And that's what's so cold about it. If the access was different, you know what I'm saying, or the values were different, whatever difference was needed, I think y'all would have excelled at any business. It just happened to be, hustling that most of y'all excelled in.
Right. And see, I think that's where I got a lot of my young homies would look. I don't want to say look up to me but they seen how it was going down, and then I was never one of those dudes that, especially if you was from my neighborhood, was gonna turn you down if you came to me and had a reason why you needed me to slide you something. It's like, yeah, man, how I'm eating and now I ain't gonna see my people eat, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, I think that's where a lot of respect came in for me, because I wasn't no selfish or greedy dude, man. And to this day, man, I mean, I still got like a lot of young homies. When they locked up, they know they can call me. I'm not gonna write, not because I'm a shitty dude. It's just because I don't slow down to sit down and write a letter. That's still, in a way, it's kind of fucked up, but they know they can call me, collect, or since nobody really have house phones no more. But I put a time on my cell phone. I don't know, somebody get rich off how whoever came with that concept of getting a prepaid card for people to call from the joint. But yeah, I try to keep time on the phone, and I try to shoot them $50 here, $50 there when I can. You know what I'm saying? I still feel, I don't know how you say, but I still feel that I should do that, or that's my job. That's the young homie.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Sometimes I even feel guilty, like, damn, maybe if I would have said the right things back then, they might not even be locked up. Man, yeah. I seen one of the young homies from the night he started claiming the hood. 11 years old, man, and from that point, I say to the time he turned 18. If you combine all the time that he was not locked up, you might get 3 months. And then he finally maxed out in YA, came home, and he wasn't out that long. Like 2-3 months, I can't even remember, but ended up getting killed right there on Queen, man. That shit, that was, and at his funeral, how they do the little picture, show all, different pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Every picture of him was him being incarcerated, man. And it just, that was something I never got over that. And then at the funeral, I had a couple of other little young homies and two brothers. They moms came up to me, gave me a hug, and whispered in my ear, like, "Don't let nothing happen to my babies." I mean, that type of shit. When you start running into that, man, it makes you start having a whole different view of what's going on. And then, what's the trip, man? Listening to a lot of things you used to say and explain, how you would explain things. And I mean, right then, you don't think you're listening, but when you start coming out of the fucking funk, man, you start remembering, wait a minute, this is what he was saying. This is what he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And your brother was good for explaining things differently too, man. And I say differently because it was really a reckless way of thinking that we was doing that at one time. And then somebody got the light, and two more cats got the light. And when it finally hit me, now I look at what was going on. I mean, what the hell? That was total destruction. And what kills me then now when you hear like that's still going on, like, damn, man, we in 2018, and this how we can't all wake up and understand this is a fucking, it's it's a fucking plan, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it now. It's a fucking plan. And how do we get out of this? How do we come out of it? What do we do? I mean, why can't the light come on for everybody? And then, I mean, I always say, and then if you remember back to '92, which I know it's hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking riots kicked, man.
Yeah,
and
that truth.
It was unity across the city.
Oh man, that was the best feeling, man.
Man, it changed everything. I mean, and I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but for what we was doing in the streets then, in '92, to shut down an international airport, that means we affected the world, because it's flights coming in from all across the world that couldn't get here. So just if we could all wake up, and it's a lot of things to get accomplished. A lot of things would change, man. It would change. Our situation would change. A lot of things would be different. We would have more control over our destiny, I believe.
And that's what I like about the things I've been hearing about Nipsey Hussle's movement over there on that side, is actually trying to buy up businesses, start businesses, buy up property, like really trying to make moves. Still, I mean, obviously there's a loyalty to his neighborhood, but at least the neighborhood is moving in a direction that seems constructive versus destructive. And I don't know the details. I don't know that man in particular, but based off his interviews and things that has been made public, it seems like that neighborhood is moving in the right direction, like actually taking what they have and trying to create something, you know what I'm saying, of meaning. You know what I mean? Because a lot of plans, go back to church or, move, it's not necessarily realistic. But if cats started planning right where they were, practical plans, then I think we'll see more of that change that we all dream of, Right,
that's true, man. It's funny you say that dude's name, man. I think I was reading somewhere. I don't know. I think I was reading something. I think that dude was supposed to be making a documentary on, I don't even have none of the names, but
Dr. Sebi is one of them.
That's the one I'm talking
natural
about.
Health.
How and then, is that the guy that actually came up mysterious? I think how I read it, mysteriously murdered after he said he had the cure, and after he had cured 70 plus patients of, I think, HIV or something, man.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the case. He had beat the case. He actually got sued for practicing medicine without a law, without a degree in New York, and then he beat the case. But he was curing HIV according to the court documents, and he was also curing a lot of other things. But how he died is that he was detained because he had a health center. He's the same cat that's associated with Left Eye, where she was at. She was at that healing retreat in Honduras, I believe. He had a healing center, and he was on his way back there.
Man.
Yeah, he was on his way back home, and he got detained. And then I think he died being detained, like in the customs, got caught in customs, and they put him to the side, and then that's how they say he mysteriously died of like pneumonia or something. I don't know the details of that, but it's again just suspicious, because why was you being detained? You know what I'm saying? Like all those questions weren't answered. It's just, oh yeah, by the way, he's dead. But that's how it happens with us. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I mean, this shit is so real and in your face. And then what would help me if they would admit that they don't give a fuck about you, I can move on, but don't be one way when I know you don't care nothing about me or my people. And then when I say my people, man, I'm saying black and brown, man.
No,
a lot of cats run from that. But black and brown. When that happened, when they try to, I know you don't care about us, but then when someone speaks on how you don't care about us, then they try to make like, you know, you're crazy. That's not true. That's not. I can't accept that. Just tell me you don't, and I can move on and I can let that go and deal with the problem from there on how we have to do for self, period. Which we already know that, but yeah, just man, cut the fucking ties.
Yeah.
You know, cut the chain.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that to go back to you mentioning that 92 uprising, the energy, man, the energy just like outside it felt like we had that figured out. Even if it was for a moment, a weekend, it felt like we wasn't going to trip on each other and we was going to figure some shit out. Like, it was a beautiful energy in the air, man. Like, and then I remember the truce, the celebration. I mean, unfortunately, it seemed like cats got real celebratory and just started, fucking each other's women. You know what I'm saying? Like, finally get access to this Crip woman. But aside from that, it was good to see. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's as an outsider, a civilian. Like, we try hard not to get caught up. You know what I mean? With what y'all had going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like whatever the roots are, we don't have that knowledge. It's like I'm walking to work, or I'm on a bus, or I'm riding a bike, whatever. So we wouldn't dress like y'all. We would, you know what I'm saying? We would scale down, make sure that we minded the color code and all these things. And to have none of those pressures right after that uprising, man, it was marvelous. It felt like a whole different city. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was deep.
It felt good for a whole summer, man. I mean, it wasn't no thoughts of harming this black man or harming this brown man, especially, man, and you was traveling off across the city, just with no boundaries, no restrictions. What, man, I never was the type of cat to hang out in too many different neighborhoods unless I had a purpose there. I might have been, making a run or something, but just at that time, it was never even a concern, and we was just moving. Yeah, and everybody was, greeting each other, man. I don't know how we make it back to that point.
Nowadays, and I don't know much about what's going on, on the street level, but it appears, by somebody just passing by to either have new rules or no rules. Like, I don't know how to, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is going on? Like I grew up, like, as early 80s, you know what I mean? Like, there was structure. And it wasn't as structured as it probably could have been or should have been, you know what I mean? But there was definitely more structure than by the time the 90s hit. You know what I'm saying? And then when I look out now, especially here, because I live in Atlanta, and these cats is picking up banging. But it's like, how? What are you? How? Like, I don't see no rules. Like, so even as a civilian, what's my responsibility? Because that's the thing. Like, everybody has to, if it's organized crime, let's just loosely use that word. If it's organized crime, which I think gangbanging had that potential, then you got to tell me where to stand. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to either honor that or I'm going to have problems, right? That's a form of structure. Like, some people push back and, expand the boundaries of the civilian, or vice versa, right? But at least there was some structure. I knew, like, okay, down there they doing this and that. I'm going to avoid that street. You know what I'm saying? Or after night they're doing this or that. I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to do what I got to do during the day. Like, you can kind of move around. Whereas now, I don't get what's happening. And again, mine's is not LA-based observations at this point. This is more Atlanta. And I don't expect you to know about that. But I felt like, was there, did the 3 strikes kill off the generals? Because I view certain OGs as generals. Like they were good leaders. Like, when I think of Rat, that's a good dude. Like, and the fact that he was associated with banging, it always blows me away because I didn't know him as a banger or anything. I just knew him as a husband, you know what I'm saying, and the father.
Right.
But he's such a good dude. And then when you hear the history of him putting people to work and opening up different lanes, that's a leader, right? So if his generation was getting caught up in 3 strikes, you know what I'm saying, then they would remove that component from the neighborhood, which I would view him as like a pillar, like he's why the neighborhood is strong. But if you put him in prison, then the neighborhood is without that guidance. You see what I'm saying? So I felt that had a component, but you saw Inglewood change, you know, from street level up until today. So what's your observation? That's an outsider's observation. I don't claim to be an expert. I just as an outsider, I've noticed a certain shift. But what happened? I mean, Inglewood was tight, and this is not to get into all of the politics of banging, but just the structure of it definitely shifted to either something that I don't understand or it's no structure. So, I mean, can you clarify some of that for me, please?
Okay, I'm gonna just tell you from how I view it, and a lot of things you touched on had a lot to do with it. And to go back to Rat real quick, Rat, I'm a product of Rat putting cats to work. I did construction with Rat for some years, man. And, you know, he was, you know, he was a teacher in that as how he was like a leader in the neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? And he took that serious. And I mean, you know, real quick, I'm gonna go back to that, but real quick, the fruits of his labor paid off. That dude is running big major companies now.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I applaud that dude, man. He deserves all that, man. I tell him all the time when I see him, man. To go back to what happened, I think from like the law perspective. I mean, for me, I got to a certain age, and then I got tired of the constant fucking bullshit sweating for no apparent reason. And I know I guess they try to blame it on loitering. So my thing was, once I did stop hanging out, I was like, this is what y'all asked for now. There's nobody out there guiding them young dudes when they come with a brilliant idea. They finna go hit this or go do this to somebody. Hey, man, kick back. You know, my thing when I was in the neighborhood, look, I used to tell them dudes, like, look, trouble gonna come. You ain't got to go looking for no trouble. That's gonna always come. Are you prepared for that? I mean, shit, you gotta have, man. Just like a country needs finances to go to war, shit, a neighborhood is the same way. It's no different. You gotta have money to go to war. Because I mean, when you start getting into it and all these gunshots and all that shit going off, you're gonna lose a lot of money because people ain't willing to come through whatever their particular preference is on why they coming through, far as spending money with you. Whatever they drug of choice, you know what I mean? They're gonna find somewhere else to go because they ain't willing to get shot in their ass trying to make a purchase. So you lose money that way. So can you be able to sacrifice eating because you want to get into it with somebody? Sometimes it's unavoidable. I understand that. But I mean, do you have money to keep purchasing guns? Because they going to get lost. The police going to come through and they going to find the guns. Cats going to be going to jail with guns. You're going to have money on bail. You're going to have money on lawyers. It's all kind of shit come with it. So my thing, my thing was, shit, you got to get your money up before you do any of that shit. And then, like I said, trouble going to come. Don't go looking for it. But once I got fed up and tired of all that bullshit, harassment of the police, I was like, yeah, okay, we're going to see how that goes. And, I mean, I knew how it was going to go. That shit, when nobody there, there's no guidance. there's no guidance there. I mean, you got young dudes doing what they want to do or what they feel make them feel good. And a lot of time it involves guns. You know what I'm saying? So, after the guidance left and the structure left, you have all this going on, and then you start having cats clicking up with the certain group they hang out with, and you starting to have confusion in the neighborhood. And then, you got this clique in the neighborhood getting into it with this clique in the neighborhood. That shit started happening. And then if you can get into it with somebody who's supposed to be your partner, supposed to be from the same turf you from, once that started happening, they don't give a damn about getting into it with nobody else. Wow. And then I remember asking myself, I'm hearing we into it with this hood or we into it with that neighborhood, or, I'm like, damn, y'all sure like the box y'all self in it. I mean, goddamn. Man, who do you like? You know what I'm saying? It got to a point like that. And then, the unity of Inglewood, you remember how it was. It was strong, man. And that's no longer. Nah, you know what I'm saying? I remember telling them, I was like, oh, man, I seen the homies over at Wookie Wop. I stopped and hopped out and was hollering at them, man. I ain't seen them in a long time. And I'm talking to a few of my younger homies. I hadn't been to the neighborhood in a while. So I'm telling them, I stopped over there telling them who I seen, and they looked at me like, damn, you stopped over there? Man, be careful. Just popped on them dudes. I'm like,
wow.
Oh. Yeah, but I don't know, man. That shit it's completely destructive, man. And I don't give a damn how they look at me because I feel that way. It's completely destructive. There's no upside. There's no win in that. You know what I'm saying? We gotta. I sit and trip off coming up a certain way when you're young and you really don't know, and you just hear things like, man, you couldn't have told me. I didn't, I'm ashamed to admit it. I didn't know until I got into my adult years that the Panthers was educated dudes.
Yeah.
These dudes was, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that, man. These dudes was educated. These dudes were cats going to college and stuff like this, man. I completely can't understand how could they stop or systematically destroy that type of thing, and then you have this now where we destroying each other, and just like how they fuck over the Panthers. They could go through every neighborhood and stop it if they truly wanted to, but what's the benefit for them? They lose all kind of money, all kind of different ways. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And man, it took me to become in my older adult years to figure this out. It's crazy to me, man. And don't get me wrong, man. I would never change the fact the friendships I made through being from the hood, but it's when you get older and look back, it's not what you thought it was, man. Nothing you go through is what you thought it was.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
but that's
me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, but that's what they keep from us is that context, like what came before us. You know what I'm saying? That history. To kind of be able to measure it like that's what you're doing. You can measure, okay, here's the Panther Party that roughly lasted 6 years, and then here this is that's not necessarily producing good, lasting over 40. You see what I'm saying?
You're right.
It's like,
right.
How is that? Like, so if they had the ability under the counterintelligence program to go out and isolate and murder and to stop this black liberation movement, how is it that they can't stop at any point that this thing that when it was even smaller, like
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Right.
so it is definitely by design, and it benefits someone obviously because it's not being eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, it benefits all the private penitentiaries and things like that. Because I mean, man, when you get into that, that's a whole nother thing. But it's deep, man. If you ever take time to slow down and start thinking about it, and I mean, once you start thinking about it, you can't stop.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's something like, wow. And you just start putting stuff together like 2 + 2 is 4. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple, man, and it's that blatant and in our face, and we won't even grasp it. Some people don't want to, but I mean, and some people, that's when you go back to those people that like, I'm gonna die in my hood, you know, and you still have those cats out there, but I mean, okay, I look at it now. I look at it like this, man. You from where you from? I'm from where I'm from. Love your hood. Don't hate me because I'm from my hood. I love my hood just the same, man. We should be able to agree on that. You move your way, I'll move my way, man. And we shouldn't be hitting each other no more, man. It's a lost cause and a fucking crazy concept, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, man. So let's pause this here, man, and we'll talk again soon enough, man. I appreciate all the insight.
I appreciate it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I appreciate you calling and talking with me, man. It helped me get a whole lot off my chest, you know what I mean?
That's beautiful.